What job position is 100 overvalued and overpaid? Gillette engineers. They took 5 years to go from 3 blades to 4. And they got the idea from reading The Onion. Member of the International Olympic Committee, IOC. They've had a lengthy history of excessive demands. $4 million are spent on entertainment in Nagano, traffic lanes dedicated to IOC members during the games, etc. They make very few decisions, all of which are politically motivated. They travel extensively and are paid well for it. Hatup's Daily Trojan, com 2021, 8016 progress. Without profit, the IOC benefits itself at the expense of Fleetex. Let's, especially 20-20 timers, wetientissentai, metistien, 20 and Olympic. From the article, although technically a volunteer, the IOC president receives a yearly allowance of $251,000 and lives rent-free in a 5-star hotel at Spa in Spain, Switzerland. I wouldn't mind that job. How do I apply? Do they teach corruption or a job requirement? My personal gripe, apart from all the corruption, is how staunchly the IOC deny the rest of humanity the use of the word Olympic in regards to any game or competition. I don't have an issue with companies protecting a trademark they invented. I get why Lego doesn't want other people calling plastic blocks Lego. But Olympics, as a word and concept, existed long before the IOC were around, and they just decided one day that they had exclusive rights to it, and for some reason, the people responsible for that sort of thing agreed. My IT director, he's never around, automates his email, and he has his own company. So many IT directors are not techs by any stretch, but just management that filled the void. They end up hiring misbiz to do the work. They pretty much balance the budget and approve requests for permissions or product purchases. If someone else's regional vape, they are either drowning in responsibilities, working 70 hours a week, or they have absolutely nothing to do other than collecting a check. I would expand this, personally. Call it the Michael Scott theorem. In any company of sufficient size, there is at least one layer of management that is completely useless, but kept around as a dumping ground for people who earned a promotion, but really should have stuck to non-management work, nepotism hires, and people who definitely shouldn't have been hired, but are kept around so the person who recommended approved hiring them doesn't get embarrassed. Regional director here. 70-hour-a-week camp. I think I'm doing it wrong. I'm the first kind of regional VP. I've been at this role for a year, with the company for a decade. I still have no idea what I do and have no time to do it. Ferrari strategist. You'd think out of pure dumb luck they'd eventually make a correct call, right? You'd be wrong. Box now, box now. Stay out, stay out. Pretty sure my granny could pull off a better strategy than Ferrari, and she's been dead 20 years. We are checking. Generally, us scoffed contractor positions requiring high security clearances. Entry-level pay isn't that high, but once you're cleared, other contractors will offer bigger bucks because you can get cleared with them quickly. Jump from one to another, wait 2 years, do it again, lather, rinse, repeat. I have a very close friend that falls into this category. He literally sits at a desk overlooking a beautiful lake and once a month drives 60 miles to visually inspect a dam. Like, just drive to it and look at it. He always jokes, if you want to see your tax dollars wasted, come visit me at work, his previous job, road construction. I am here for a potential change of career. So what have we got so far, guys? I wondered if anyone else clicked on this looking for job ideas. Hey? My mum, from whom I'm estranged, works as the vice president of reward at an international company. She basically arranges contracts so millionaires can get more money and gets paid £189,000 a year for it. Even she thinks it's ridiculous. Gosh, even the title of that job, vice president of reward, sounds made up, like something you give a Nepo baby to keep them busy. President of FIFA. Today, I feel gay. I feel disabled. I feel like a migrant worker. La. Vivek Garipalli, Clover Health, $389, 6 cents million. George Mikan, Bright Health, $180, 8 cents million. Mario Schlosser, Oscar Health, $60, 8 cents million. John Caillou, Alignment Healthcare, $46 million. John Caillou, Alignment Healthcare, $46 million. Vivek Garipalli, Clover Health, $389.06 million. Clough stock trading $1.20 share, down 88.19 on all-time chart. $400 million to drive a fucking company into the ground. Where do I sign up? About 2/3 of the upper-level admins at the university I work for. I am the payroll person at a state university, and I completely agree with this. The people in upper management aren't even in union, protected jobs who, in theory, should be the first ones gone when we need to settle the budget problems we have. Instead, they were the only ones who got raises during COVID. The president of the university I work for makes over $500,000 a year bonuses. Anytime we've hosted an event he's supposed to show up to, we get a last-minute email from his assistant saying something came up and he can't make it. This university also refuses to pay staff graduate students, more because they claim it's impossible due to the budget not being high enough. Not just universities, hospitals and insurance companies are guilty of this too. It's a huge reason our healthcare costs are so inflated compared to other countries. One night I babysat 3 kids for about 2 hours or so. The kids went to bed when I got there, and the parents had left dinner out for me, so all I did was eat their food and watch their TV and pet their dog. When they got home, the mom paid me $100. I told her that was way too much. She slurred, "Don't worry about it, I'm drunk." And then I noticed her fly was down, so that was the most overpaid job ever low. One of the smartest moves you can make as a parent is treat those who take care of your children incredibly well. I always overpay my sitters. They're worth every penny with the peace of mind they give me. You're not being paid for the night everything goes well. You're being paid for the nightmare night. To you, it's overpay. To them, it's a chance to get the fuck away from their kids and have sex. It's marriage insurance. Trust me, for a break away from the kids and not have to think about them, it was definitely worth it to the parents. I used to get paid twice. Parents would pay me before they went out. They knew they would come home drunk and didn't want to forget. But when they would come back indeed drunk and insist they pay me again. And then I noticed her fly was down, completely changed the trajectory of the story. That reminds me, one time my friend was talking to this one girl, but he still lived with his parents, but he told her that me and him lived together. He texted me and said something like, "Hey, can I borrow a room in your house for like 2 hours? This girl wants to hang out," and I told her we live together. I said, "Yeah, sure, I don't care." So I set up one of the rooms I wasn't using with some cheap little futon I had in the garage, threw a TV on a foldable table, and left to go play Pokemon Go at the park. He texted me after a couple hours and said, "Hey, thanks. I left some money on that table, and when she left, I put those sheets in the washer and put the futon back in the garage." He left $80 on the table. He got laid and did a part of my laundry. Easiest money I've ever made, Leo. My uncle was a commercial airline pilot. He described his job as vastly overpaid in normal circumstances and vastly underpaid in emergency situations. Don't most commercial pilots have to pay crazy money to do schooling and licensing to even start working? Most high-paid jobs may be relatively easy when you've dedicated years to learning it. You're being paid for your investment in the skill and ability to perform it with ease. Firefighters and paramedics are in the same boat. $60, $80 a year in some places, to pick up old people off the floor. But only $60, $80 to manage the pulseless and dying child at 3 in the morning. Hospital CUs, and actually almost all hospital upper management. There are so many layers of management that many of them barely step foot into a healthcare facility ever, let alone ever speak to a patient, yet all of them make 6, 7, 8-figure salaries, plus mega bonuses. My hospital network, Keo, makes $11 million salary, not including bonuses, which bothers me, but bothers me even more are all the board members and shit directly under him, making nearly as much. It's hundreds of millions of wasted money paid to the people trying to screw staff out of good pay and screwing patients into paying big bills. I also work for a healthcare organization, and our CEO also makes $11 annually. One of many, as you said. In December, we had a meeting about the financial results, and leadership discussed how the healthcare industry is in trouble, how our salaries and wages are our biggest problem. This devolved into a tangent of essentially nobody wants to work and we can't keep nurses on staff. I wonder why. Therefore, we are relying on costly temp help, and it's killing us. Listening to some C-suite finance skinsuit who makes a 7-figure salary, edit to add, "This was not the CEO. I am aware 11 of them is 8 figures. explained to us that greedy nurses are totally the problem, and we'll have to look hard at our expenses this year. Probably more layoffs was a sickening experience I just haven't been able to shake. I'm a physician, currently in residency. The CEO of our huge hospital system was doing his rounds in the pre-op area, in his little suit, saying hi to people. He picks up a surgical marking pen and says, "What's this for?" What a crock of shit. I still don't know what big firm consultants do. I do consulting. It is just either outsourced office work or creating fluffy PowerPoints to give executives an excuse to authorize spending. It's not a bad gig. They get paid to be the bad guy, essentially, and to outsource blame. Consulting refers to the business of getting seasoned expert advice from 23-year-olds. My last job in college, before starting my career, I was an overnight shelter staff for transitional housing. Since these clients were basically back up on their feet by the time they arrived, they were pretty self-sufficient. I was paid about 25 higher than other night shift jobs I could get at the time, and on most nights all I had to do was make one pot of coffee. The rest of the time I could watch TV, play video games, do personal chores, etc. The one job that I know was better was their overnight sleeper, since we had to have 2 staff at all times. As implied, this dude made a well above minimum wage rate to just sleep there on the weekends. The one I had at my last office job, I was originally hired to be the manager of a new project, but the project was never launched, and I had a long-term contract. After 5 months of being paid by only clocking in and out without doing any actual work, someone saw me in the pool for available associates and invited me to join their project as a frontline agent. Apparently at some moment the database just marked me as an available employee without mentioning the rank I had been hired for. I stayed in the company for 6 years, getting paid the salary of a manager, but with the responsibilities of a regular agent. I rejected every offer for growth I had, as I was only working there to pay for a debt. In the end, I made my money with very little stress, and left the company in great terms. Edit. Thanks for all the attention. I really didn't expect it to get so much traction. Here's an answer to a common comment I've seen. First, if it was so good, why did I leave? Simple, this job had nothing to do with my own career path. A few years back, my life basically crumbled to pieces. I got into some really bad debt, and at some point I just had to get a job, even if it was an office job I didn't want. Worked for 2 years in another company before I was recommended for the position in the one mentioned in my post. The day my debt was paid off was the day I presented my 2-week notice, and left in great terms. I was lucky to have a nice team around me. Second, no, I won't mention the company or project. It was as an analyst in a streaming app. No, not the super big ones. What I actually did as a frontline agent was a hybrid of customer service and developer support, all text-based. Third, it was indeed a very fortunate set of coincidences, and I took advantage as much as I could, but I left due to my own pursuit. I'm doing good with my own independent endeavor, and no salary will be more valuable than my own sense of accomplishment of making a living out of what I love doing. Cheers, Reddit. Talk about a free resume booster too. I think I have you beat. I got hired in October 2019, did my training, and then got an offer for a special assignment that was supposed to last a few months. $300 a day guaranteed, whether I worked or not. I did work a lot for the first few months, but then COVID happened. The other people that had the same opportunity were all told to go home. We were working out of town. Me and a few other guys were told to stay. I was probably averaging 20 hours a week while still making my guaranteed $300 a day. Eventually, the other guys went home, so then my hours up to 30, 40 a week. I made $20, $100 a week for 2 years. It was tough because if I went home, I would be taken off the assignment, but good Lord, did that bring me out of debt and boost my savings account. Wasn't there growth possibility above manager? Or the stress to salary ratio wasn't worth it? Life coach. This girl I know became a life coach and charges $300, $500 per person for a 4-hour seminar that a friend of mine used to help her set up for. Friend said all it was 4 hours of her saying these people are great and doing yoga breathing exercises. And she had repeat customers and often 4-8 people per class. $2,400 per weekend to tell people they are awesome and do a few yoga stretches. Fucking wild. This I've met a handful of these people, and maybe one had actual social work or counseling qualifications. People pay unfathomable amounts for a complete rando with good photo editing software to market how to think. It's insane. Mine. Lol, but I'm not gonna tell my employer that. Gary, sorry to contact you over Reddit, but your mailbox is full, and you're not responding to emails. We really need that report on Splattrick 12 if we're expected to keep Operation Thunderfuck on schedule. Please, Siki Big Cheese Bright Hat. They have requested to be keep informed. Regards, Analyst 12A, to Edit. Disregard. This was supposed to be a pen. Not sure how to delete on mobile over a sat. Whoever was in charge of that fuck-up in Ohio. I was at a train museum with my kids one time that had this really cool kids area where kids could run model trains around, switch cars in the yard, etc. The whole time we were in there was an older guy running the trains. Nice guy, talked to the kids, but really into toy trains. We left before he did. As we were walking out the door, a museum worker stopped us and informed us the man was the CEO of Norfolk Southern. Just playing with toy trains at a museum? Rail safety and the definition of pollution by the APA are contributing to this problem. It is not an isolated incident. It is a much wider problem in the US. It is beyond me that basic safety measures, like positive train control on all tracks, is not a requirement. Direct and indirect fatalities caused by the rail industry is very high compared to other developed countries. Huts, Politico, U article, trains, Amtrak, safer, railways. Anyone who makes a ton of money by inserting themselves into big transactions and charging fees as a percentage of the transaction, brokers, title companies, etc. There's the classic line from Trading Places, 1983, by Eddie Murphy to the Duke brothers when they explain their business as commodities brokers to him. Sounds to me like you guys are a couple of bookies. In-house legal for a corporation. I basically browsed the internet most of the day in my office, maybe reviewed one or two standardized contracts and occasionally sat in during a firing. I made $80 a year plus benefit. Edit. To clarify, I am a paralegal, not an attorney, and the work was limited to contracts and entity formation. I guess it depends where you are, and maybe my expectations were just wrong, but you made significantly less than I assumed most companies' legal departments make. Do car salesmen really do any work anymore? Last time I bought a car, I looked online, did my research, and knew exactly what I wanted and basically showed up ready to buy. The dealer just gave me the keys for a test drive, then did the paperwork for me. You'd be surprised how many people just go to the dealership having done absolutely no research. You were a dream customer and a tenth of the customers are like you. Mine. I am a DevOps engineer at a fintech startup. I write server configurations for $125 gear, and I work about 10-20 hours a week, remotely. I keep thinking they figured out how easy my job is, and decided to fire me, and then instead they tell me I'm doing a great job and promote me. I smoked weed all through college and got a degree in philosophy, and did not go to grad school. Chaos of hospitals. I say this as a nurse who continually sees them get bonuses, despite us being short-staffed getting 3 short, staffed to getting 3. I work in fintech, and I literally do nothing during 9-5. I wake up in the morning, start my computer, check emails, morning meetings, then play video games, go to the gym, invite friends over or go out for brunch, and at the end of the day message everyone a good afternoon. I'm absurdly overpaid as well, and highly recommend the career. It's like I have a job, but I don't. But I do. Edit. For everyone asking, I'm a senior expert on blockchain and contract between FANG companies every year, mostly Google and Amazon. The hardest part is the schooling, but afterwards the actual work is quite easy. It's a pretty surreal career, and I understand how privileged it is to have a stress-free job. I've seen how badly an unhealthy work-life balance can impact a person's mental health. Cause of my parents, which is why I got into it. Second edit. My DMs are currently flooded, so apologies if I take a while to reply back, trying to respond to everyone with advice. I'm in fintech too. I work super hard, actually, like mind-meltingly hard, for about 45 minds a day. Rest of the time is easy life, baby. The only problem is fintech is very volatile. Banks, financial institutions are the first to cut fat if numbers aren't making them happy. Financial institutions are the least shy about firing layoffs when the conditions merit it. I'm a systems architect in the Fortune 500. I'm the only guy watching their 4000 Macs. It's all managed by Jamf Pro, which is cloud, so I don't have any servers to babysit. Similar workload, lots of free time, rarely a fire to put out. Best part is, those 4000 Macs aren't going away. In fact, they're just growing and growing. Started when there was 300 in the business. There's a lot of Microsoft guys who don't want to deal with Apple. My competition for jobs are the 5,000 other admins who go to Janus each year. Not bad at all. Anything that could be reduced to, I make a lot of money because I move a lot of money, like brokers, insurers, Wall Street stuff, real estate agent. Like the warthog, pharmaceutical or medical sales. I'm a small-scale clinician who deals with medical sales reps 5 days a week, who are the sweetest, bubbliest, most seemingly accommodating people on earth. If you buy their thing, since your patients need theirs, except they're usually not even medically qualified to make those determinations. They can't answer medical questions relevant to their products. Every rep we deal with can be Googled and earns the combined salary of my office staff comprising 4 people. Realtor. While I believe they can provide value in some situations, technology has put a lot of the work into the buyer's hand. You find places you like, send them to a realtor, they walk you through and point out which rooms are bathrooms, print out a mountain of paper for you to sign, and boom, $50,000 commission. I may be biased here, but I am not exaggerating when I say more than half of the dudes in my fraternity who dropped out of college because of bad grades became realtors. Point out which rooms are bathrooms. I'm bracing for impact here, but diversity and inclusion officers are doing much of what has been doing for years. The complete opposite is dishwashing at restaurants. They can't run without one. There's a reason every head chef with 2 brain cells to rub together takes care of a good dishwasher as good or better than their own kids. Hardest working, lowest paid in the kitchen baby. Homeopathic practitioner. Knowing the CEO of one of the largest video game companies. He doesn't know shit about the industry and spends most of his time at the gym. Most middle management at large corporations. What you do? Pretend you know what your employees do and tell your employees to do the work your manager asks you to do. Edit. Let me add that there are some middle managers who really do a great job organizing the chaos for their direct reports and serving as a shield for them. But I've seen some shit ones too low.